So the next speaker that we would like to introduce is Jessica Kelly. Jessica Kelly is the founder and CEO of Threefold. And Jessica, we'd love for you to tell us about yourself as well, how you came to start Threefold.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you can imagine, it's quite hard to find a factory to get a product made. How you even go about doing that, you're probably going to go on Google to figure it out. So what we do at Threefold is we help fashion brands find ethical factories, ethical supply chain, get training so they can build their business for people, planet, and profit. And we do that through two ways. We have a platform, a tech platform, where they can find ethical factories and manage their production. And we have online courses and coaching where we train brands on how to actually build a brand, sales, funding, how to get PR, how to grow your brand awareness through marketing and social media. So really trying to build these small brands into an army of what I think is the future of the industry, as well as equipping established brands with better supply chain that's set up under them so that what they are doing is ethical and sustainable. I got started with this. My background was not in production. It was actually in Fashion Week and in marketing, PR, and sales. I'd worked in New York for 10 years now in fashion. And I went 4 years ago on a trip to India where I was doing research and development. I had this vague idea that I wanted to figure out, and it had to do with this idea. And I ended up touring these factories that on a small scale were employing women who had been formerly sex trafficked, and this was creating a new opportunity and a new life for them. I toured India's largest manufacturing exporter. They make for Target and H&M and Kohl's, but they have leading labor standards in the industry. They have a machine that dyes denim with one glass of water. They have slum programs for sewing training and employment opportunities. But one thing that all of these factories had in common was their websites were horrible. You were never going to be able to find them online. So it just was very clear to me that it needed to be easier for brands to be able to find and work with the right factories, because the right factories do exist. They're just very hard to find. And you kind of have to go through all these middlemen to get there. So we wanted to break that and make it easier.
I think that is awesome. I love the part where some of the factories are taking, people who have been sex trafficked, and they're taking what was fallen in the world and redoing something else. In terms of sustainability, I know there's a lot of talk right now in the fashion industry in terms of what is sustainable. And I feel like there's two parts to it, and sometimes recycled isn't always good, and sometimes people see sustainability in a different way. And so I kind of wanted to ask you, actually, with the factories that you've been working with, how has your walk with Jesus as well kind of informed the way that you describe ethical manufacturing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm so glad to be a part of this talk tonight, because it's a conversation I wish actually happened a lot more often. My faith in Jesus has informed every single step of my career, and has 100% created the company that I've made today with Threefold, including the name. And so I just, when I kind of looked into the spiritual truths that I knew, which were that we are given a mandate to go after the injustices of the world and fight for people that need justice. We are given a mandate to steward our planet well. And when I looked in the fashion industry, I knew from a very young age that I wanted to work in fashion. I've been designing clothes since I was 8 years old. It's all I wanted to do. But I knew it was a calling since at least college. And when I started to get very tired of, I think, feeling like there's all these button emergencies, but no one's curing cancer, and you're selling really expensive stuff to rich people who don't care. It can be, and there's a lot of mean girl mentality. I've worked in so many incredible names, incredible offices, but it feels like Devil Wears Prada. That movie was made for a reason. It's still relevant for a reason. I just saw this world that broke open to me in the sense that, like, I knew I was called to fashion. I knew that I needed to stay in fashion, but I knew it needed to have more meaning and purpose. And when I started going down that route and studying it, I realized fashion is a $3 trillion industry. It is the largest labored industry in the world. We employ more women than any other industry in the world. And to me, that actually empowered me, because I was like, game on. We have the biggest opportunity to change the world. And that was what set me on that path. And so when I started finding factories, we have factories, like I said, you know, Robert mentioned how bad the water waste is that we have in the industry, because we do use a lot of water in cotton. We use a lot of water in dyeing, for dyeing our fabrics. We actually have, so Ethical NYFW, which is coming up next week, we have a series of events just like this one, where we're bringing in thought leaders that are working in sustainability and in ethical brands, and they're talking about how they do these things. And one of the speakers we have is at Gino Logia, where they have a machine that dyes denim with 1 glass of water. And we're actually talking to them about how they do that. And so we have factories that work with them. We have factories that partner with local organizations to create employment for disabled adults who wouldn't otherwise be able to bring in an income for their family. We have factories that pool the rainwater that they get from in their facility so that they can use that for less water waste. We have factories who use the scraps that they, after they cut off the patterns and the pieces, they will send that to an organization that weaves them into rugs so that they can still be used and resold into something instead of just trash. So there's a lot of creative ways that factories are using the work they do to find new outlets and avenues in order to be more sustainable, as well as just the bare minimum of actually paying their people right, paying their people on time, treating them well, no discrimination, no child labor, things like that. That's what I see as biblical manufacturing.